Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Tuesday. It's October 15th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And real quickly, uh, if you're part of our premium membership, you know that we supply you with a lot of our uh, custom tools and things. And we've been having some problems. I talked about it yesterday with the News Guard. One of our members sent me a new News Guard that works really well. And so I uploaded that to the site. So if you're a premium member, you can go there and download that for free. It's a News Guard that works and that we're not having any issues with. So that's out there. Just wanted to make you aware. So if you are a premium member and you do use the News Guard, and I suggest you always use it. I actually like this one because it has um, a reminder that you can set up to remind you 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or even an hour prior to the news coming out. Whatever you prefer, you can change those settings on it. So I kind of like this one. And so far it seems to be, I just used it today, but it seems to be working. There was no news today either, it seems, but it seems to work well. It seems to be loading without any issues and that type thing. So go check that out. Also, just a reminder, uh, uh, people have asked me a lot to point out our second entry indicator. We do have a second entry indicator on our website that works the way we count, and it works properly. If you're interested in that, go to the main page and you'll see right at the top of the page, you'll see a link to our second entry indicator. And on that link, down at the bottom, there is a video that shows it in operation, so you can go watch that. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. But anyway, let's get to the chart lesson. You can see we had a big bearish day today. Looked like we were going to have a tight range, and it sold off. We still uh, traded inside the previous day's bar. So what's going to happen tomorrow, I'm not sure. But it's no surprise that we sold off some because we're getting really back into overbought territory again. So will we turn up tomorrow or just kind of chop sideways or continue down? We might pull back and test this midline again. Sometimes you'll get a double test of that before prices will move on. And where prices are sitting up here in very overbought territory, the path of least resistance is probably going to be down. So no surprise that we corrected some today. But the key will it be mild corrections like this, or will we get a bigger correction? With the election being 3 weeks away, I just don't see it being a big correction. I've talked about this a lot, and they're not going to let this market sell off prior to that election. So don't count on it unless something crazy happens. Don't count on this market going down. Um, of course, always be alert and be ready for anything because anything can happen. But if the status quo of years past, previous election years come true, then this market's not going to sell off. So it doesn't mean it can't. You never say never, but just understand that the odds are high that it's not going to sell off before that election. So what happens after that election is anybody's guess, but we need to get through that election, see who's going to be our new president, and go from there. But anyway, bearish day, you can see it, and let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart and take a look at it, and we'll go through the trades. Okay, here it is. You can see we started out in this really tight range up here, opened up slightly below the close of yesterday, quickly filled that, and then it was downhill from there. We did have this midday kind of, mid-morning kind of sideways type action. We made a leg down, then we made another leg down. I didn't measure them to see where they stood, but let's just see what kind of measured move we had here. I close, and you can see very, very close to a perfect measured move. And we bounced from there. We didn't really rally. We just kind of bounced and went sideways. So clearly 2 legs down. You might have even measured originally from here because that's your 2-legged correction, but we didn't have a new low in place. So I think did we make a new low there? It's real close. 77.50. So yeah, we still didn't quite make a new low there. We missed it by a couple of ticks. So But anyway, I would probably measure from, your best bet's probably just to measure from where we started down again, which would be here. And you might even say we started down from here. But to me, that looks like that's where I measured from, and that's where I'd probably measure it. And a lot of times you can't see this till later in the day. Once you're down in here and you realize you got another leg going, then this gives you a target. That's basically what this does. This is not something that's going to give you every trade or tell you exactly where prices are going. It just gives you a good clue to where your target's going to be. And so if you get in the trade up in here somewhere, you know you got staying power if it's going to make a measured move. Now, if it reverses on you, don't sit there holding it and waiting, because I would have started looking for a measured move from here, to be honest, originally, because you got your break and you got a two-legged correction there, and if it starts down again, that might be where you measure from. And you can see you still would not have been wrong there. You still come out very close to the same place. So just pay attention to those measured moves and always be aware of them. We'll move this back down here for now. And let's zoom in. But once we broke loose, and there's nothing here. The only thing that, real clue that we might break loose here is that we didn't really rally here, and all of a sudden it falls and the bottom just falls out. Once you got this channel going, it's downhill, so just switch gears, and now you're trading with the trend. Then we got the two-legged correction, and then from there we just kind of went sideways until we finally broke lower and made that pretty much measured leg down. So let's zoom in here. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, 7 o'clock comes right in here somewhere, and we're just in this tight range. And then finally you get one down here at the very low. I think there's just barely maybe enough room to get out there. So you'll probably get your scalp. I like that when you got a 1, 2, 3 triple test for sure. And it's right in the midline. Normally I'd tell you don't enter right into the midline, but with a triple test and 3 equal lows there, I think you're safe to try to get a scalp out. I wouldn't try to take that if you're looking to swing trade, but if you're just playing our scalps, scalping out, go with that. And you can see it runs right back up to the highs again, and quickly actually goes sideways before it turns down. So, but it runs back to the highs, and you get a triple test here, but no setup, and then you're kind of bouncing along the lows. Same thing, no setup. There is a higher low right here, but I don't trust that one. We just came back off the high, so it could tick higher and turn down, or it could trap you in there. So just sit tight. And then it actually makes 2 legs up and a little failed breakout. And I like this one just to go short. It's a pretty big bar. I mean, you could argue for it to be green just because of the size of the bar, but on a failed breakout, especially when you're testing the highs, I think that's a good place to enter just in case it does what it did here, and you might catch a runner. So these failed breakouts tend to be important highs or lows, and you can see that turned out to be a very important. It turned out to be almost the high of the day, just a little bit lower than the actual highs of the day. And then we got our trend line confirmed here. And what this trade is you really got a new high here, because you made a high here and you turned down and then turned back up. So there's a swing high right there that gets engulfed, and you can't really see it after the fact. But if you're watching it in real time, you realize what happened there. So because that is a swing high, that makes this a newer swing high, and you come down and you get a first entry and then a second entry. So you could treat that like a failed second entry continuation pattern. It's not perfect or ideal, and it does break higher there and engulf that big green bar. I like trading that on the engulfing bar. You do get a slight close outside. You might wait for this to close, so you could enter this either way. It's green no matter. I'm going to mark it green. I'm not going to mark it red, because it's it's got a couple of special contingencies to it. And these things are already, any kind of failure type pattern is already advanced, and most of you should just leave them alone. I talk about it a lot, and people just ignore me when I tell them that. But there's a reason I don't teach these in the early going in the manual, and that's because they're difficult to learn and they'll slow your learning curve down. So just ignore those for now. You do get a lower high here, but that just looks a little too congested to me, and you never know if this breakout's going to fail or not. It turns out it doesn't, but you don't know that in advance. And this is a strong trend, and so any signal bar that comes back to the key entry point, you could probably take it and be fine. So the problem is we just don't get a lot of them. There's one here, and that one looks a little congested anyway, so maybe you don't take it anyway. And even though that doesn't break higher, you might argue for that one right off the key entry point. That one's not good enough, and then now you've broken outside and got a new low, so you don't want to continue to do that. You might argue there's a steeper trend here as well. And if you see that, there's a couple of other trades here as well. There's definitely a second entry right here and it's 7 ticks, so fairly low risk. And then we bounce off the lows here, and we get a failed second entry short there, but this is just sideways stuff, so don't try to go long there. And then more sideways stuff. We break out and fail. This bar is 5 ticks, and you make a triple top across there. If it would have broke below this bar, I'd say go short. Wait until here. Maybe. It's very low risk. You're way away from the EMA. You do have your break and new high here, and now if it turns down from here, you basically got a triple top there, triple 3-bar top or whatever. So maybe you go short right there. But then you bounce down here. I just like that as a bounce off these lows, and you can tell we've tested that same low spot a couple of times, so you can argue that's a triple test as well. I like going long there. I really thought we were going to reverse back up to the highs, and we do, but it comes back down and tests the low again. So again, that's a little congested. I mean, that's real close. You could almost argue for that to be green. I mean, it's a little more advanced, so I probably should make that green. And you do get a couple more tests here, but this bar is not good enough. And then this one's an inside bar. But finally, you get a triple test here with a decent bar. So I like going short there for sure. And you get some support here temporarily, but then all of a sudden the bottom falls out of it. And you get kind of hung up across here. You get the most touches right across there. So this is like a failed breakout to me. And you can say there's at least a triple test there. It's a little congested, but it breaks lower, 1 tick below that, and fails instantly and turns up and goes past it. So and that's mostly all full body. It's not a lot of stem or anything. So I like trading that on the engulfing bar. If you wait till it closes, you got a lot of stem there and resistance right where you would kind of expect. So I don't think I would trade that unless I traded it on the engulfing bar. And it turns out to be a pretty good move. Then it comes back and you get a triple test across here and a higher low with another 7-tick signal bar. So I like going long there. There's actually a second entry here, but by the time that happens, it looks like congestion across there. So just skip it. And then we come back up and we test this high, and it makes a perfect double top to way back over here. So you got your break of the green one and a couple of legs up. So I like going short right there just to try to get a scalp back to the EMA or the other side. And you can see that happens. And then this was really tempting to enter here, but you don't have a break of this yet. So I would wait and then you get the break and new low, but now you're way down here. I'd want at least a second entry here before I went long, and you just don't get it. It just keeps going lower. And then the next thing you know, you've got a new trend line setting up here. Now here you get a first entry and then a second entry, but you don't have a new high yet again. So this next bar, notice how it broke lower and started trending up. It's trying to retest that high, and so it didn't make it, but a lot of times you want to wait on it. So we drop down, and here you get a close outside and your high all in one. You'll see that sometimes. And you also have a new high here, and so you get a first entry, second entry, so it's another continuation pattern that confirms that trend line. In other words, another failure continuation pattern. That's a little more advanced. However, even if you don't trade that failure, you do still have a close outside a new high. It's just a first entry. And so that's a little suspect. You generally want to wait on second entries. And then, of course, we make a new low here, and you get a first entry. It breaks, and then it turns back up and comes back by again. And actually, I can't remember which way that one broke. So it still looks like two legs back, but you get that little trap right there regardless. So when this closes that bearish, as long as you got room to get out, I like going short right there. And it just kind of chops slightly down sideways back to the trend line. And again, this looks like starting to look like another strong trend. There's another trend channel working lower here. So, and this is starting to look really strong again. So it's one of those deals where any signal bar, I'd probably skip that one because it could still turn up right there. But by the time we get to here, now you've got a break of it, and you could trade this on the engulfing bar or wait till it closes. But you do get a close outside and a new low, and then we correct again before getting a break of the two-tiered blue channel, and we run to a new low, and then it reverses out of there, and we kind of rally up and go sideways some more. So I didn't see anything else. This signal bar is just not really good enough here. It looks too congested. This one was tempting because you got a leg up, then a two-legged correction, and another leg up. However, you do not have your closeout side new high yet on this one, so I think it's premature to try to enter early there. Just wait, and it's so close to 230 anyway, and it just takes you into 230. So yeah, not a lot of great trades today. There's really not. We had some really good movement down. Considering all this movement and price action, it's a shame that we didn't get more setups than we got here. But that's the way trading is. Some days it's, there's a dozen easy second entries with the trend, and the next day you get a handful, and every one of them are tough reads and not the easiest ones to spot. So it's just the way trading is, and unfortunately today was one of those days where you didn't have a lot of great trades. There was no news or anything to really generate a big move of any kind. So I was really surprised. I really thought we'd get more sideways, but again, we were in a very overbought territory, so a correction was since there was no news or anything, and we're already overbought. A correction's was no surprise. So I really thought we would just move sideways more, but still not a surprise when we got these two legs down. So now that we do have the two legs down, we may rally again tomorrow. And again, there's only about 3 weeks till election time, so they may let this thing correct a little bit, and so they can really rally it that last week or two into the election. We'll just have to see. I honestly don't know what to expect. I just don't think they're going to let it sell off. That's my main expectation. But outside of that, this thing can go any direction at any time, any day, and there really are a lot of different external stimulants that could send this market crashing lower because of the Middle East. You see oils. I noticed our gas all jumped up around here the last few days. I'm sure it's done that nationwide. Um, just lots of stuff going on that could really economic. We could get an economic bomb. We could get a real bomb of some kind of war in the Middle East, something we're involved in, and who knows. So just be prepared. Anything can always happen, and always follow the price action. Let it dictate what you do. Don't try to guess at it. I mean, we're chart readers, so we're always trying to figure out where prices are going in the short term. But long term, anything can happen. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.